and that was Alfie Babington. So where are you, Georgina McDougall? Right over there with the orange. It's a delight to have you and your husband, Terry. Georgina's story is phenomenal, and the history of the King's Plate in that last running is phenomenal. So let's take a look to the monitor and see how the media captured the 1951 King's Plate.
$35,000 followers of the Sport of Kings jammed Toronto's Woodbine Park, including the Governor General and Lady Alexander for the 92nd running of the King's Plate. Alf Babington on Major Factor, Willie George with R. Wankmuller up, John Dewhurst on Libertine, out for the oldest racing fixture on this continent. The 21 plate contenders get off to a perfect start, but near the rail, Erindale Kid loses jockey Zakur as Britannia shows the early speed. Down on the home stretch, Libertine has the lead, but Major Factor is running over horses there on the outside. Long strides that will not be denied, and Major Factor nips Libertine by a length. Fairfield's third. Bringing the second straight King's Plate and $16,000 to owner E.P. Taylor, with the Governor General presenting the coveted trophy.
So Major Factor was, yeah, quite amazing capturing that, right? Major Factor won the 1951 King's Plate. Alf Babington ended up on that horse because jockey Gil Robillard chose the other half of the entry, which was running for Pete McCann. And so it was Britannia who was the other half of the entry. The horse that ran second, Libertine, which Alf beat, by the way, he came from 17th down the stretch the first time to win the King's Plate. He ended up winning the Prince of Wales on and defeating Libertine again, and ironically in the Breeders' Stakes ended up on Libertine and won the entire Triple Crown as a rider. So the stories that go further back to 1940, that is also something that the media might like to find out, because a nephew of Mildred Kane, who was the first female owner of a King's Plate winner back in 1940 with Willie the Kid. So it just is such an intermesh story. It's a delight to have the chance to be able to say, this is the return of the King's Plate, and yes, the legacy of Queen Elizabeth. I have to say, going out to see all these races across the world with her name on it has made what is possible today for us. So I'm so proud that in this moment that Canada has this fantastic horse race for the world to see. Without further ado, though, I know that Jeff Bratt is out there in the audience, and I would like to introduce you, Jeff, who does a phenomenal job year in, year out as our anchor. Jeff, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'll pay you all later. Thank you very much, and thank you, Robert, for that wonderful introduction as well. Yeah, the King's Plate. Hard to believe that the date is finally here. We've talked about it so much, and we've got a couple of former Queen's Plate winning riders to my far right. Ignoring me as per usual is Robert Landry. He's the general manager of Cheesewood Stable. Of course, I can never forget his Queen's Plate victory aboard Nikon. We have Gary Boulanger with a... He's not on the golf course, which is nice. He's got the ball cap on right now. I know he wants to get on the golf course, but he's not quite there yet. I remember his Queen's Plate victory like it was yesterday. And you know what? Gary's got a great shot with Twin City coming up for conditioner Stu Simon as well. A lot of people ask me, Jeff, who do you like in the plate this year? Man, I don't know. This is like, you go to like a buffet and it's just like, I like a little bit of this. I like a little bit of that. So it's just, this race is so wide open. The morning line favorite is Colette, who comes out of a very tough race down at Belmont Park. Didn't run all that well, but is looking to bounce back for conditioner Chad Brown. A wide open event. We wish everybody all the best. And Roberts, one thing that I like is a great betting event and a full field of 17. As Jim said, we could potentially have a 3 or 4 to 1 favorite come post time.
Thanks, Jeff. And without further ado, it's time to direct our attention to the monitors. And let's take a look at the contenders for this year's King's Plate.
The 21 plate contenders get off.
The Gala for the Guineas, Canada's most prestigious horse race. The Plate, this Sunday For the first time since 1951, the first jewel of the OLG Canadian Triple Crown will once again go off as the King's Plate, where 17 aspiring Canadian thoroughbreds and the teams guiding them take aim at the next chapter in the history books and the inaugural under His Majesty King Charles III. Let's meet the field.
Cool Kiss and Sahin Savachi with beautiful timing to win.
Cool Kiss finished second in the Plate Trial Stakes. The Dark Bay gelding broke his maiden last year at first asking and notched an allowance win earlier this spring. He's one of 3 contenders sent out by trainer Mike DiPaolo, who seeks his first plate triumph. The second is El Cojete, Spanish for rocket. He'll shoot for the stars this Sunday, looking to build on 2 recent finishes in the money and a sprint-winning performance on the grass back in June.
El Cojete holding out from Fighting Irish, and it's El Cojete by 3/4 of a length.
The Mark Cassey-trained Elysian Field has won 2 of her last 3 starts, none bigger than her most recent effort, pulling away from the remaining 13 fillies in the Woodbine Oaks presented by Budweiser.
Elysian Field in front, out wider Wickenheiser, Elysian Field clear, Wickenheiser now the centre, drifting, but Elysian Field, Sahin Savachi wins the Woodbine Oaks.
Calic seeks a king's ransom, shipping in from New York for the oldest continuously run stakes race in North America. The Chestnut Colt kicked off his 3-year-old campaign with 3 straight wins, including the Grade 2 Pennine Ridge from Belmont.
They are gaining on Calic, but they're coming for the finish, and Calic has done it. A front-running score.
Kauko Kaipu is finished for Wanderlust, and while the 2023 Queenston Stakes winner has competed in all 11 career starts at Woodbine, trainer Ted Holder hopes that Gorgeous Grey has that deep desire to extend his travel down the long 1.25-mile distance in this Sunday's King's Plate. The Tucci Holdings-owned Midnight in Malibu has 2 wins from 5 lifetime starts. He arrives at the party fresh off an allowance win last time out.
Midnight in Malibu, length and a half.
Moon Landing is one of 4 contenders going postward for the Kevenatard barn as the trainer seeks back-to-back wins in this iconic race. Moon Landing broke his maiden at first asking last November. More stashies will load into the King's Plate gate, boasting experience. 11 starts, 6 in the money, including a maiden victory last December. And how about Paramount Prince? Mark Cassey's second hopeful was an absolute force in his last race, going gate to wire for a 5-length romp in the Plate Trial Stakes.
Paramount Prince, head on the chest, has absolutely canted in to win the plate trial by 4.5 lengths.
Kevenatard's second King's Plate charge is Philip My Dear. The 2022 champion 2-year-old male in Canada is a 3-time winner from 7 starts, 2 of them stakes triumphs, including the 85th edition of the seminal Cup and Saucer Stakes.
Philip My Dear on the extreme outside, and Kazushi Kimura has won the Cup and Saucer. Philip My Dear first.
Silent Miracle seeks jubilation on Sunday. The Dark Bay comes into the King's Plate with 3 wins from just 5 lifetime starts. Stanley House rounds out the trio of colts heading postward for trainer Mike DiPaolo. Before a modest 6th place finish in the plate trial, he prevailed in allowance race action back on June 18th. Chiefswood Stables send out the lightly raced Touch and Ride, who began his career on Canada Day, finishing 3rd. He promptly broke his maiden a month later.
And Touch and Ride, who looked $1 million in the post-parade, is coming clear. Touch and Ride, a length and a half, 2.5, 3.5. Keep adding. Touch and Ride wins by 4 lengths.
And Twin City is one to watch. 7 out of 8 lifetime starts in the money. 2nd in the Coronation Futurity, 3rd in the plate trial, and a gritty late surge in the King Corey Stakes to launch his 2023 campaign.
Twin City coming through on the inside, Waiko the outer head-to-head. I think narrowly Waiko, Twin City in ahead, Bob.
Trainer Roger Atfield takes aim at a record-breaking 9th King's Plate victory with 2-way crossing. The son of English Channel has battled ups and downs in his 2 wins from 7 starts. Velocitor looks to recapture the sparkling form he displayed as a 2-year-old, resulting in a Sovereign Award nomination. His victory over Twin City and Philip My Dear in the crucial Coronation Futurity is just the type of performance to draw from.
But it's Velocitor clear. Now Philip My Dear running on as Twin City on the inside. It's Velocitor from Twin City flying at the wire. Velocitor.
And the 4th Kevin Attard entrant is Wickenheiser. The filly seeks the 2nd win of her career in Canada's biggest horse race. She ran a good 2nd in the Woodbine Oaks presented by Budweiser. Ladies and gentlemen, the jam-packed field for the $1 million 100th running of the King's Plate.
A big thanks to Broadcast for the fantastic montage, and I can feel the anticipation because there's so many tremendous performances. The coverage of this race is across the world. We're delighted about every aspect of this, and the TSN and CTV will be covering the entire King's Plate. Did it? I had to say it. King's Plate from 4:30 p.m. I have to honestly say that the team is full of so many different backgrounds, but the one lady who is here today to join us, I have to find out just how much her horse racing background impinges on the King's Plate today. Jennifer Hedger, she is the Sports Center's host and co-host with David Detition. Please welcome Jennifer Hedger.
Hi, gang. And I love that you called him David Detition, because it's actually Darren Detition, but I will be calling him David on Sunday.
I got him, Darren.
Yeah, we're thrilled. Dutch isn't here this morning. He's holding down Sports Center for me. And if he was here, you would know, because he is an enormous personality. He loves horse racing. He probably doesn't know this, but I actually had a fractional ownership in a horse about 15 years ago. The horse's name was Cheetah Pants. And I had no part in naming the horse, but you said that a very special horse, it would take a special horse to win the race on Sunday. Cheetah Pants was not a special horse. Cheetah Pants was lovely, but you don't own a horse to get rich. You own a horse to have the thrill of a horse in the race, and that is what Cheetah Pants provided us for a very short time.
So Jennifer, I think you actually called a race too, which was interesting.
Well, like literally 20 years ago, I came in to do a guest call with Dan Loisel, and you know they say the great ones make it look easy. Dan makes it look easy. I made it look very difficult. It was an abomination. But I'm happy to be back 21 years later and have a second crack at not calling the race, but we are thrilled to be presenting the broadcast.
And great to have Dan with us today. I have to ask you about the Olympics. You've hosted different incredible events, but the Olympic Games certainly must be quite a highlight.
Yeah, the Olympics were great. I mean, Vancouver Whistler 2010, I think, was probably the high point in this country's history in the last 50 years, let alone my own personal history. But, I mean, being a sports broadcaster, you get to do amazing events, you get to meet amazing people. But this will be the first time that Dutch and I get to host a race of this sort of prestige. So we're looking forward to that. We did some barrel racing in Calgary about 10 years ago, which I don't think really counts. We were on horseback. We will not be on horseback on Sunday, but absolutely thrilled to be part of this event.
So we are going to ask you to draw the names.
Yes.
And we're also going to welcome our Director of Racing, Tim Lawson, to come up and join for the post-position draw for the King's Plate. And Jennifer, it's a matter of just pulling out a horse name, handing it across, and Tim will then draw the number. We'll also take a look at a little bit of the form and introduce along the way some of the comments from special guests who are represented in the King's Plate. So let's begin our post-position draw for the 164th running of the King's Plate with a field of 17 and 2 also eligibles. Just to note, enjoy the silent possibility if there was a scratch in the race, and also for Runaway Charlie. Enjoy the Silent is Kevin Attard, Lanny Bloodstock, Daniel Plouffe, and Canuck Racing Club. And Runaway Charlie, Mike Doyle and Stronach Stables, they're on the 18 and 19. So here we go with the actual first of the 17. Let's begin, Jennifer.
First horse drawn is Al Cohete.
16.
El Cohete, gate number 16. And El Cohete, the decision to run, a recent one. Mike DiPaolo is the trainer and is owned by Anakini and Dalimonte Holdings Incorporated. And El Cohete is to be ridden in the King's Plate by Esjuan Flores. This is a horse that's been on the lead, finishing really, really strongly, kicking on, and has had a very close second last start, and comes into this race with a previous win. El Cohete, gate number 16.
Next horse, Stanley House.
1.
Wow, Stanley House has drawn the inside gate in the King's Plate. And Stanley House is also trained by Mike DiPaolo. John Russell and Diana Russell, the owners. Javier Castellano, who's on an absolute roll. He won the Kentucky Derby this year with Mage. He's also winning everything. He won the Belmont Stakes, will ride Stanley House. Stanley House was a phenomenal winner, as you saw 2 starts ago. Stanley House, gate number 1. Jeff, at this moment, I want to bring in Mike DiPaolo.
Test, there we go. Well, not probably how you wanted to draw it up, but I do have good news for you. Horse have won from post position number 1 in the past. Can you put any excuse on his most recent race?
Well, he didn't break very well, and we were a couple lengths behind in the first turn, and just the race just didn't pan out the way we would have liked.
Talk to us about the fact that, he rarely does run a bad one. How confident are you that he's going to bounce back with a better race?
Well, he's trained real well. He's worked well. He always shows up. That last race was almost just turned out to be a workout, so I think he's going to show up on Sunday.
Will you still watch Sports Center now that Jennifer has given you a bad post position?
I don't mind the 1. I mean, it's the closest way around. Hopefully, Javier will work out a good spot from there.
Mike, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Post position number 1. Hey, number 1 on the program, number 1 in your hearts, and maybe number 1 coming up this weekend, Roberts.
Amazing to see the first 2 horses out from the Mike DiPaolo barn. Let's continue with the draw. Over to you, Jennifer.
Velocitor.
7.
Velocitor is trained by Kevin Attard. Alan Bill Alwelling, who are tremendous supporters of this industry, are the owners. And Justin Stein is going to be the rider who won on the Coronation Futurity on Velocitor. It was a very good run last start. This horse appeared to be coming right back to form. Velocitor was 4th behind Paramount Prince and kept on in the stretch and is coming around at the right time. So Velocitor has gate number 7.
Touch and Ride.
11.
Touch and Ride is a representative of Chiefs Wood Stable looking for their second win in the race, and Jose Campos, his first opportunity here to be in the race with Lane Gillaforte. And there's a horse that's so lightly raced. Awesome again came in to win the King's Plate, or the Queen's Plate as it was known then, but on just a 3rd run. And Touch and Ride's going to try and do the same. There was nothing more visually impressive in the lead-ups, in my opinion, than this particular runner, and now steps up in class. Touch and Ride has gate number 11.
Elysian Field.
2.
Elysian Field is a Mark Cassie representative who is a Woodbine Oaks winner. The Woodbine Oaks has been a phenomenal lead-up to the King's Plate, or the Queen's Plate as it used to be known. Elysian Field was a phenomenal win in that race for Team Valley International and Gary Barber, who are tremendous owners who've always supported this race. We know Mark Cassie is such an enormous contributor to this race. He's won it twice. And the rider for Elysian Field is on absolute fire. There's no hotter rider on the grounds than Sahin Savachi. Elysian Field, gate 2.
Cool Kiss.
12.
Cool Kiss. Well, Mike DiPaolo's runners all came out early. And Mike DiPaolo with a 3rd runner here, Cool Kiss, who was a mighty good second in the plate trial. And new top stables, John and Joseph DiPaolo. Emma Jane will be the team, and Emma Jane Wilson, having had success in the King's Plate, or Queen's Plate as it was known before, on a horse that really will suit her. This is the style of a horse that comes from the back and has put in some phenomenal runs this year. Was actually a really unlucky runner in the King Corey and then came out and won, and I thought was a tremendous last start, second off a slow pace.
Cow Kokai Poo.
15.
Okay, you got to spell it. I'm just kidding.
Kaukokaipu. Kaukokaipu.
And do you know, Jennifer, what it means? I think you do know what it means.
Yes, it is Finnish for wanderlust.
It is Finnish for wanderlust.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you nailed it. And this is a tremendous story for Culpeper Syndicate. Culpeper Island Syndicate, formed by Ted Sternholder, and a lot of his representatives are here today. This is a magic moment for Ted. I think that it's really nice to see a barn that has had small representation with a really live horse. If there's an honest horse in the race, it's Kaukokaipu, a ton of seconds, and then broke through for an impressive maiden win that transferred into a lead-up race. And I think this is a very interesting angle because Ted purposefully has sat out the plate trial and purposefully sat out the Woodbine Oaks. Gate 15, Rico Walcott will ride. He is a tremendous addition to the Woodbine jockey colony, and his story, if you are able to, as media, talk to Rico, because he has a lot to tell you about recovery from really serious injuries, and he is doing fine. Rico Walcott, in terms of cancer survivor, is in this year's King's Plate with Kaukokaipu.
Paramount Prince.
13.
Paramount Prince is trained by Mark Cassie, Mike Langlois, and Gary Barber combined, and Patrick Husbands, who needs no introduction, has had success in the race for Mark Cassie before. And really, this horse just jogged in the plate trial. Couldn't have been more impressive. Has really never run a bad race. Paramount Prince will have gate number 13. And again, Gary Barber, part owner. You know, Jeff has the other part owner with us. Let's go to Jeff.
Mike Langlois is his name, and post position number 13. We heard about Jennifer's foray into horse racing early on. Yours has gone a little bit better, safe to say. Can you believe the ride that you're on right now as a rookie owner to be involved in the King's Plate? What does this mean to you?
You know, it's surreal. We really didn't anticipate this, and we certainly didn't understand the magnitude of doing what Paramount Prince has accomplished. And my grandkids and what have you, the ride that we've all been on with this has been unbelievable. As you can see, they're all here. I'm very excited to see Paramount Prince and see how he does on Sunday.
This is what the game is all about. So what will it be like for you if you get a very similar result to what happened in the plate trial and your horse is on top by about 4 or 5 at the top of the stretch? What will be going through your mind?
I don't know, honest to God. I think after they pick me up off the ground, then you know, I could think about it for a second. But right now, we're just really happy to be here and hoping for the best.
Lucky number 13, you got the right guy aboard, Patrick Husbands as well. Good luck.
Thank you.
There you go, Robert Keller. There's so many Cinderella stories in this year's King's Plate, whether it's Kaukokaipu or a rookie owner involved in Paramount Prince.
Absolutely. That was a horse that Jamie Attard had, went to the Mark Cassie barn and has never run a bad race. It's a very interesting horse. Let's continue on. Jennifer.
Silent Miracle.
Okay.
9.
Silent Miracle has a nice draw, gate number 9, for a horse that likes to be on the lead. John Martini is the trainer for RCC Racing Stable Limited. Great to see them in the King's Plate. And also a great welcome to the South African rider Ryan Munger, who's a tremendous addition to our jockey colony. Ryan has actually won his very first ride on this horse, has a special connection to Silent Miracle, and there's no doubt that Silent Miracle has been able to lead all the way or sit on the pace, and certainly comes into this race lightly raced.
Two-way crossing.
14.
Two-way crossing is trained by Hall of Fame trainer Roger Atfield, who is also the owner, and taking the ride will be Antonio Gallardo. What's interesting to me about two-way crossing was the two-way crossing had an eye-catching victory in the maiden on the turf that really spoke to really stamina all the way. Roger, I had a chance to be with him when he was in Japan, and he mentioned that this is a horse that he targeted the King's Plate with. He was a little disappointed at one point with the transition of this horse until recently. He's worked this horse out. There's no doubt that that last win, which came prior to the King's Plate, was a phenomenal closing effort. So gate 14 for two-way crossing, a horse that will be suited by that draw.
Philip, my dear.
3.
Philip, my dear, adds to the army of horses for Kevin Attard, and there's a horse for Roma Stable Limited who's really supported racing strongly and has had good success at Woodbine. And Philip, my dear, and Daisuke Fukumoto will team up. Philip My Dear has a tremendous closing style, and although Philip My Dear's better form has been on the turf, has been able to start to build those types of runs on the Tapeta in most recent start. Philip My Dear, gate 3. Daisuke Fukimoto, 1 ride in the race, 1 win, and that was with Mighty Heart. And Kevin Attard, as we know, won the Queen's Plate, as it was known last year, with Moira.
My girl, Wickenheiser.
8.
So we go to another Kevin Attard runner, Wickenheiser, and Rafael Hernandez has the ride. And this is for Claire Shearer and Bill Alwelling and Kevin Attard as the part owners. Here's a filly that closed tremendous ground behind Elysian Field, and she's only had 2 starts off of the layoff, and she was a winner last season in style on the turf. And this is gate number 8 for Wickenheiser. Gosh, that's kind of what Raphael was wanting. Let's go to Jeff and find out more.
The gentleman that won the last Queen's Plate that I'll remember, and potentially the first King's Plate that I'll remember, is right to my right, that being Kevin Attard, post position number 8. You've been in reports documenting the fact just nothing has gone smoothly with this filly all season long. For the first time, do you feel a little bit more confident about her chances coming up in this race?
We still have 72 hours to go, or 96, I guess. But yeah, it's, since her last race, things have gone pretty smooth for her. We're just hoping, obviously, in the next few days it remains that way, and she's doing well. Moira win from the 8 hole, so I think that's a good omen.
Oh, I like it. I like it. And named after a pretty good person as well. Very accomplished Olympic athlete and a wonderful person as well, and Haley Wickenheiser. Off the pace style, obviously you're a bit of a victim of pacing here. What about the mile and a quarter? Any concern with her at the mile and a quarter?
Distance is not an issue for her. She's bred to go this and further. Obviously, with 17 horses, you just need to have a lot of racing luck.
In the past, you've had 4 starters in the race. You could potentially have 5 if you draw in here. How do you organize everything?
You treat everyone as an individual. You prepare them as best as you can, and then at the end of the day, it's up to the horse.
Kev, best of luck. And I understand we're going to see Moira on the King's Plate program as well.
Yes, yeah, looking forward to seeing her get going.
All righty, there you go. And the guy that teamed up with this gentleman, Kevin Attard, right to the right there, and that's being Rafael Hernandez, and a great coach as well, and conditioner Tino Attard. So Wickenheiser from post position number 8. Robert?
So that's the team that won last year in terms of the trainer and jockey combination. Looking to repeat. Moira did it last year. Wickenheiser is there charged together here. So let's continue on.
Midnight in Malibu.
Okay.
10.
Midnight in Malibu is trained by Sid Attard, who's had a number of close calls in the plate. He was second with Riptide Rock recently, and he has Tucci Holdings on the bubble here with Midnight in Malibu. The Biscuit comes into ride. Adam Biscuit, he's done really well here, and he's coming across to take the ride on Midnight in Malibu, which was Jamie Attard at the beginning of his career and was targeted for the King's Plate, and has really started to come around. There had been issues that Sid's worked out, and this horse ran a bottler last start. There's one thing we know about Midnight in Malibu. This horse is bred to go all day, and if that last run was any indication, he can really pull off a big surprise. Midnight in Malibu, certainly back into form, is drawn in gate number 10.
Moon Landing.
17.
17. Okie dokie. Well, that's the outside gate for Moon Landing, and this will be Kevin Attard, Robert LaPenta, E5 Racing Thoroughbreds, Madaket Stables LLC, who are part owners of last year's winner in Moira. And to ride is Luis Contreras. And Moon Landing is a horse that got a lot of support a couple of starts ago, was disappointing that day, but came right back to form with a really good in-the-money performance last start. And that was against older horses. So Moon Landing coming into this race, certainly for Kevin Attard, adds another element, another dimension of a horse that could certainly be appreciative of the mile and a quarter. Luis Contreras on the outside gate here on Moon Landing.
Twin City.
4.
Twin City is trained by Stuart Simon, and the owners are Brent McClellan, Russell McClellan, Roy McClellan, and Stuart Simon also part owns, and the rider is Gary Boulanger. And Twin City, a phenomenally hard-fighting horse, has never really run a bad race, but for the one time when something went just a little off in terms of the palate. Other than that, perfect form. Let's go to Gary Boulanger and Jeff to find out more about this incredibly honest horse, Twin City.
Might be the best-looking horse in the race. Well, best-looking jockey? I don't know, but Gary Boulanger is going to be aboard here. Gary, what would it mean to you at this portion of your career to win a King's Plate for the first time?
It'd be the icing on the cake, you know. Good ending to a great career.
Hall of Fame induction ceremony this year. You got in. Congratulations on that. Let's also touch on the fact that he's a guy that was able to bounce back in his most recent race. Did he feel like his old self?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Marine, something had went wrong. We weren't sure what it was just right away, but Stu figured it out, and he came back in the plate trial and acted like the old twin that I knew.
What did you think as soon as post position number 4 was drawn? What went through your minds?
Twin's a pretty laid-back guy. Like, not a whole thing upsets him. He's a great horse to be involved with, and I wasn't worried about posted. Like, I didn't want the one hole, obviously, but he's a nice animal to ride. He makes my job pretty easy.
Gary, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
There you go. The Hall of Famer, Gary Boulanger, aboard Twin City. And Robert, just a couple more, and then we'll be all set for the Gallop for the Guineas.
So we're getting close to a complete lineup here. Jennifer, thank you.
Kalik.
6.
Kalik is trained by Chad Brown. He's had 2 runners in the race before and has had a 3rd place finisher. The owners here are Robert LaPenta, E5 Racing Thoroughbreds, Madaket Stables LLC, and the rider is KK, Kazushi Kimura, who's taking the photo right now. Great to have a shipper here from Belmont who had really good form, just the 1 start last time, bobbled at the start. This horse is certainly proven on turf. There's no doubt this has been in a grade 1 level of horse opposition. And we have Kalik with a fantastic draw, gate number 6 for Kalik.
Which leaves us with Morstachys.
5.
Morstachys is trained by Renico Lafont. This is a claim from 2 starts ago. Chris Manahammer is the owner, and Leo Salas has the ride. And here's a horse that is a deep closing type, gets a long way back, and can unleash a really long, powerful, sustained run. So there's Morstachys. Gate number 5 has a lot of options, and Morstachys will come into this race as a bit of a sleeper and a bit of a long shot. That does it.
That's it for me. I'll be back on Sunday.
I thought we could have gone on again.
Coverage begins at 4:30 on CTV and TSN. So we'll see you then.
Thank you so much, Jennifer Hedger. Let me just say Dutch. We're not going to say Darren, I'm going to say Dutch. And there's a lot of teams involved in this, and I want to go back and just recognize the timing. 4:30 is the official time for the broadcasters start. Joining will be Brodie Lawson, Mark McKelvey, Chantel Sutherland, and Alana Nolan. Our Woodbine Racing Live simulcast will have coverage all day, and that'll be with Jeff Bratt, Monique Vague, and Alyssa Blow. Now, there are some housekeeping information that I'd like to share with you because we're coming up to what will be an earlier post time, and we have got 13 races to be decided on King's Plate Day. 12:25 is the post time. I'm just going to get my sheet to give that to you. And okay, so there will be a special 3-pick 5s on the program. We're also going to have a special look at the interviews that will come along when it comes to some of the dignitaries. I wanted to mention David Dunkley. He will be on track. He'll be able to not talk to you today, but on the day, if you want to talk to him about the Coronation Collection, he was actually a milliner who worked with the milliners for the monarchy, with Her Royal Majesty, as well as the Queen Mother. And I think that you will on the day see a lot of pageantry for the King's Plate. And David Dunkley, year in, year out, is the milliner for the King's Plate. So we are delighted to have him once again. So as far as the stakes races other than the King's Plate, there will be the King Eddie on Saturday, there will be the Catch a Glimpse on Sunday, we'll also have the running of the Soaring Free Stakes, and Moira will be in action in the Dance Smartly, the defending of our Horse of the Year last season, and of course won last year's Queen's Plate. Let's take a look at the morning line, and before we do that, you can see the actual post position, draw, and order. So let me see if I can bring that to you as we go through it. So we got Stanley House in gate number 1, and that will be a 4-to-1 chance. morning line odds from Ernie Perry. Gate 2 is Elysian Field, and Elysian Field, I believe, at this check of my form, I have Elysian Field, I think it was 6-1, 8-1. Number 3 is Philip My Dear. Philip My Dear is at 30-1. Gate 4 is Twin City at 30-1. Gate 5 is More Stashies, who's at 50-1. 6, Kalik is the morning line favorite at 3-1. Number 7, Velocitor. Velocitor is out to a price. Let's check it, and that would be 30-1. Number 8, Wickenheiser is at 12-1. Number 9, Silent Miracle. I have the odds there as 30-1. Number 10, Midnight in Malibu. I have the odds for Midnight in Malibu at, let's turn the page. I will have to check that, 30-1. A lot of 30-1s. 11, Touch and Ride has been kept safe by Ernie at 12-1. Number 12, Cool Kiss is showing a morning line. Let's go and find Cool Kiss. These aren't in this position order. 30-1. I don't believe that could possibly be the case, but that's what I see. Paramount Prince is 10-1. Number 13, Two-Way Crossing from the barn of Roger Atfield is 30-1. Ted Hudson Holder's horse, Calco Kaipu, is at odds of, I believe that horse is 6-1. Okay. El Cojete, odds of 16-1. 16, El Cojete, odds of 50-1. And 17, Moon Landing, the final horse on the list. I know you're bearing with me, but I appreciate it, is 20-1. So basically here we have Kalik as the favorite, very good support for Calco Kaipu, Stanley House is second favorite, Elysian Field, and Calco Kaipu third and fourth. I wanted to share with you that there is a segment called Free Reign that takes you behind the scenes in the barns, on and off the track, for an inside look at what Canada's premier racing show is going to put on for us. We got a sneak preview of this. This is going to be available on social media, and legendary trainers will be involved, and viewers can go inside the quest for top purses with the eye behind the scenes in what is called Free Reign. We're going to take a look to the monitors, and let's get a sneak preview of Free Reign.
There's a lot of connection between horse and man.
You have to understand the horse. You know, let it be him. Don't try to force it to do something you want to do.
You bond with them, and you watch them grow, and you watch them develop like young children.
I have that touch with the horse, that gift that God gave me with the horse, to understand the horse. This is not a job for me. This is my therapy.
Horses teach you on a constant basis. Once you think you've seen it all, there comes one out of the blue and it's like, wow, where did that come from? Come on, KK!
Being able to get a horse to a big race, even if you've got this planned maybe months ago, many factors can come in. So watch for Free Reign. That's the first sneak peek of the first episode. You know, it's important for those who are in attendance to have a chance to talk to the owners, trainers, breeders, connections of our King's Plate runners, and photos from Mike Burns. But I wanted to just make mention that 2 weeks prior to the King's Plate, so back on August the 6th, a gentleman who we really care and loved passed away, and John Watkins. He was a photographer. He worked up with all of us on the 6th floor. He was always down by the track taking fantastic photos. He won a nomination for the O'Brien Awards in 2020 for his work. He was also featured a lot on Trop magazine with his work. The last words he said to me, we had a great chat after the Oaks, and he said, "I'll see you King's Plate days." So we're very sad about this. We want to just pass on our condolences to his family. And when the photos are taken today, let's remember him, because he will be there in spirit. I appreciate each and one of you who've made it to the King's Plate. For all of us, it's a fantastic spectacle. Thank you to Jim for the incredible words of the encouragement of what it means to him and to all of us as an industry. And for those who are able to tell the story to the media about their background, such as Georgina, we thank you for being here. On behalf of the Woodbine Entertainment Group and the OLG, have a great weekend. Enjoy the King's Plate.